All right, so let's see if I get this all set up and done right here. We've got, next up, we've got the pits. That's what we're gonna start off with here. I'm planning on going from the beginning of the game, kind of to the end of the game. But if I miss some, we can jump back and jump around a little bit. Now, for the pits, it's kind of the first place, I guess, for quote-unquote magic finding. You can do it with a ton of characters. They're pretty weak, right? Stuff in the pits is pretty weak. It's probably the absolute best 100% go-to for the item find barbarian when you're doing holy grails and stuff. We got some S tier votes already. The pits. What characters? What do you guys think are the best characters from the pits? Obviously, the item find Zerker Barb, the pit Zerker. The archers are dangerous. That's an important thing to know. Yeah, those archers can be dangerous, especially when they're like cursed archers and stuff. You're all amped up and stuff like that. You can get wrecked by those sometimes. But with the exception of archers, everything's pretty slow. You know, the carvers, the skeletons, they're all pretty weak and pretty slow. So Java can wreck them. Necro wrecks it. Even the Wind Druid can go down there and do pretty good. You could hop down there the Paladin if you really wanted to. Sorceress. Pits is really good for like almost any character really. And considering the weakness, it's an 85 area, so you can find every single item in the game. Poison Necro, good point, Josh. Any of the Necros, Poison Bone or Summon goes down there and just absolutely slaps. Slaps, son. Slaps. So I think it's pretty well established. Probably we don't need to go on too long about this particular one. The pits is one of the best. I'm going to put that up in the S tier up here with the pits. Go ahead and just shrink it down just a tad more. So I don't know how many S tier things we're going to have up here. We got the pits. Number one, first off, as S tier. Let's go back. I got roasted by G-Stacks over here because I forgot about the Maz. Uh-oh. You guys can help me with them. With this one. How do you spell Mausoleum? Mausoleum. So that's how I spelled Mausoleum. Is that right? It can't be right off. Mausoleum. I got it right. Oh no, I didn't get it right. Yes, I got it right. Dun, 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 dun. So the Mausoleum. What are we gonna say about the Mausoleum? Obviously not the most dense. So it's kind of not hard to get to. You just gotta find out where. It's not that hard actually. You just go the opposite way of the Stony field. But yeah, like a low elite numbers down there. It is slow and easy though. It is incredibly easy. All the monsters are incredibly slow. The Fireball Sorceress is the character that I've pretty much only ever used down there. If you don't have teleport running all the way out there, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some mega time. So it's kind of a place to run like just for the lulls, you know? So I'm not really sure if it's one of the best areas, you know what I mean? And only on single player. On multiplayer, I wouldn't touch it because you couldn't. What made it beneficial on single player is because I knew where the champion packs were going to be. So if I went to this one area and there was like 4 champion packs in one corner, I knew there was only 1 or 2 champion packs left in the whole joint. So I would just save and quit instantly. Boom. It is an 85 area though, so you can find every item in the game. I actually found my Astrians down in the Mausoleum. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go ahead and throw my own opinion here onto this one. So, you know what? I'm more along the lines of Connor here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the D tier personally. So we got the Mausoleum down in the D tier personally for Sweet Phil. It's just, I don't know anybody who really does it regularly. Almost nobody. So I got to put it down in the D tier personally. What do we got for the next one here? What are we thinking? We're gonna jump straight to Andariel, because the Countess isn't really quote unquote magic finding. You're farming runes there. But next up, we got Andy here. Andy is good with. Andy can drop up to low on the rune, which isn't necessarily magic finding, but it's kind of a noteworthy thing for the particular area. You can get your Shakos from there, area, it's all that kind of stuff. Andy is good, but a lot of good stuff you can't get your Arachnid Smash, obviously. I know from finding my triple durability, unique spiderweb sash from there. But a ton of good stuff. Semi easy to find from the waypoint. You just turn right. and that gets you down to the next area. The level under that, you have to just teleport around randomly to find your way. But, and obviously the 4th level, it is nice. You could, like, I do it for every character essentially, and like you run around the barrels on the side, casting at Andariel. Her cloud can't go through those barrels, so when you see a cloud come out or she's shooting that poison arrow or whatever, you just run around the other side, don't get hit. You can always use your telestaff or sorceress, teleport over to the stairs where it comes down. She can't get to you instantly. A lot of safety. Early on, it is very good, so A for early game. Her loot table sucks, so only level 75. Yeah, it is kind of true. I think with Sweet Phil's opinion here, I'm going to go with... I'm going to move Andy over to B, in my opinion. So I'm putting Andy at B because of the ease. I mean, if Andy wasn't good, everybody runs Andariel all the time. And there's a reason for it. The ease, you can get tons of pretty darn good items, not the absolute best, but, you know, it's right there. So we've got AT up next. So for Ancient Tunnels, it's just a classic. For the Blizzard Sorceress, you could rock it with the Fist of Heavens if you wanted to. I think that's everything. Almost, well, most of the stuff's undead except for those multi-armed red dudes. I forget their names, but it's so classic, so iconic. Everything's slow and weak, pretty much, except for, like I said, those long-armed red dudes, I suppose. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of torn, really, because it is so classic, and it's an 85 area. You can find everything in the game and stuff like that. So... because it's only for the cold sorceress, essentially. It's essentially only for the cold sorceress. But it is so classic. I'm gonna go and give it a... It's still good. I do it all the time. It's not bad. It's not bad. But I'm gonna go B tier for Ancient Tunnels just because it's essentially only for cold sorceresses, right? Do a little jump back. I'm not doing it. I was meant to do it kind of pretty much in order, but I'm not very smart, so I keep forgetting stuff. I forget a new 85 area here for the new patch. We've got Stony Tombs. I don't know why these letters are all so giant right now. We've got Stony Tombs ready to rock right here. Stony Tombs. Now, what's good about the Stony Tombs? Cold. Anything cold is awesome down there. Anything fire is pretty good down there too. So that kind of makes it better than Ancient Tunnels. Another thing that could or couldn't, one thing that's absolutely amazing about it, to be honest, you can pretty easily get a Stony Tomb map on single player where it's literally the one single exact step out of town. I've done it almost on accident. I have it all the time. So it's not hard to find when it's just out of town in Act 2. You can get right to it. Let's just go ST for Stony Tombs. I need to make these names a little bit shorter, huh? Do you think we can remember ST as Stony Tombs? Very small area, able to kill quickly. Yeah, it is kind of, and that's... The only thing I don't like about it is the branches going off, because then you have to go out one branch, and then you have to recover the same area to go up a branch, and then cover the same area again, and go up the other branch and go down. And then the same thing again, you go out a branch, then cover this. I hate backtracking. I prefer where it's like, the pits where you go down, you go into the pits and then you go around and then you come up and then you go down to the bottom level, quit and save out. You never have to repeat any area. That's a small knock on it, in my opinion, a small knock. So, but I do agree, it is kind of good. Online it's a little harder because it's harder to search for, it is. But, so what I'm going to do with the Stony Tombs is actually I'm going to put it in the A tier above Ancient Tunnels, actually. I'm actually going to put it above Ancient Tunnels and below the pits. For Sweet Phil's official tier ranking right here. So we got Arachnid's Lair. This one, I'm gonna be honest, I've only touched this one in the PTR. I personally do not like this area. And I've heard very mixed reviews. Some people love in it. They're infatuated with it. You know, but other people like me, when you're trying to shoot anything down there, there's these pillars, not pillars, but like it's a cave or whatever. But it's just the little corridors, and I just do not like it. So annoying. I agree with the annoying part. It is, once again, a new 85 area in Diablo 2. Let's see, it's good for fire and cold, right? It's good for fire and cold. It does, Lou Me says, it's a good point, and we can't forget how easy it is to find. That is a good point. The amount of time you can save having to run around. You could do it with like any of the characters, so you don't have to teleport around to magically like come across it or find it. The super easy to find thing, I feel like that is actually a good point. That's why I want to rate it a little higher than what I was thinking, but I just hate it. Like, even though it's easy to find, it's not fun for me personally. So if it's not fun and I'm never going to do it, I'm trying to weigh like everyone else's opinion on it too, but obviously my opinion's going to come down heavy on my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the Arachnid's lair in the C tier. Alright, what do we got up next here? Arax. After that, we got Trav, right? That's the only other thing. We're going to hit Trav real quick. We got Trav and we're ready to rock. Now, here comes the sweet Phil opinion's going to come in here. I never find anything at Trav. I know I've told you this, guys, before. The one time when I did almost 400 runs, I think it was. I think I did 380. I was going to do 500 Trav runs. I did 380 runs, and I found a Maul rune. And I found a Wisp, which finding the only Wisp I ever found on single player was pretty cool. But that's literally, I didn't find like a Shaco, I didn't find an Oculus, I didn't find nothing. Nothing. But I do know the statistics, the odds, it's easy to find. Everyone else finds stuff there, just not Sweet Phil, you know what I mean? I know the jewelry and the runes, I hear all about it. The only problem is that it's hard, how hard it can be. Yeah, you do need a specific type of build, right? So there is that. Yeah, I'm still weighing it in my head right now. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm not 100% sure what you guys gotta sell me on it. Sell me on it one way or the other. Sean says A or B. Justin changed his mind. It's B tier now. So for Trav, I'm gonna go ahead and put Trav partially because of my own personal opinion, and it's kind of what I was leaning and I was agreeing with you guys. We're gonna slide Trav over to the B tier as well with Andy and Ancient Tunnels, because it's good, but it's hard to weigh stuff like Trav against Andy, because Andy's so easy and Trav's kind of hard. Your mercenary gets just wrecked in Trav unless you have this good setup. But it's known so much for, I know runes technically aren't magic fine, but the jewelry and stuff, and you do get runes from there. You can get other stuff too. I have found a few good items here and there throughout the days, but I've never had the crazy luck that other people have had. So I think sliding Trav in at B, due to all that stuff, you know, is a good spot for it. Now we got Mephisto coming in next. Mephisto's gonna be tough. It's good. It's better. It's gonna be better than Andariel. Obviously, you can get Arachnid's Mesh. Bunch of S tiers coming flying in. S tiers flying in. You can moat trick Mephisto super easy. So almost any character, you could moat trick Mephisto with a throw barb if you wanted to. I did a video about it. You can moat trick Mephisto with every character if you really wanted to. 100% of people so far are saying S tier or A tier, with a lot more S plus. It does lack late game potential because it's not an 80, you know, he can't, or Mephisto's treasure class, I guess is what it is. Can't drop every item in the game. Alright, well, what I'm going to do here, I think I've concluded enough information on it that I'm going to reach my opinion, and I think everybody's a lot of people have thrown out their opinion that kind of agreed sort of with mine. I'm not going to go S tier with it though, but I'm going to go A tier with it, because Mephisto, it's another one of those ones, there's a reason everybody runs Mephisto. But for early on, you get such good gear from Mephisto. Arachnid's Mesh, you can get Oculus, you can get all these good useful items, stuff for that for all the characters pretty much. So Mephisto, we're gonna slide in at A, and I think up there near the top is a good spot for Mephisto, in my opinion, for sure. We got Chaos Sanctuary up next. Now everybody runs Chaos Sanctuary. It's a little bit tough, but I feel like with the knowledge that everybody has, not every build can do the Chaos Sanctuary, but Vista Heavens, Hammerden, rocking it out. After you get a good sorceress, it's one of the best areas for runes and for the end game. If you're Holy Grailing, the crazy magic finding stuff like that. S. A lot of just pounding the S's, double S's in there. Maybe it isn't the greatest early on. It's hard to farm by yourself. It does take some effort early on if you're not those specific Corpse Explosion like Necro, Summon Necro. If you're not a paladin with Fist of Heavens or with hammers, it's tough with it, pretty much any other character besides those early on. But I feel like it's so good. Those casters, I didn't realize this actually until recently. Those little floaty caster things are actually the same as ghosts. They have a higher rune drop chance, which is why you find so many runes in the cast sanctuary. So hitting those guys is the same as farming the ghost packs in the arcane sanctuary. So, oh yeah, that is a little bit, that is important too. Yeah, George, that when you actually get the Diablo kill, I mean, you got the big boy at the end. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, even though it can be difficult early on, I feel like after early on, it is so GG that this needs to slide up from where it's at to the S tier. I feel like that's got to be up to the S tier. I feel like probably 80% of people in chat said S tier for Cast Sanctuary. I kind of agree. So I feel like even if you don't go S tier, there's no possible way anyone could rank the Cast Sanctuary under A tier. E and S, Eldritch and Shank. It's a super, super, super easy one to do if you're not a cold sorceress, that is. It's super easy to find. You just go to the waypoint. They're both right there. Because of the monster density, runes, this is pretty much magic find, but we will take into consideration the magic find locations if the rune drop chances are kind of good. They don't have a better rune drop chance, but they're so easy to get to with the large champion packs that we'll call that, you know, I've actually found a bunch of runes at Eldritch and Shank. So from Eldritch and Shank, I think I found 2 Jaws in like back-to-back days actually back in the day. So we got a lot of A tiers, we got B tiers. It's not 85 areas, so you can't get everything in the game. It's viable without teleport, incredibly easy to find. They're pretty weak. So there's not really a ton to say about it besides how easy it is and stuff like that. But it is probably the easiest good area in the game. So I feel like we're gonna go with I haven't decided yet. I'm moving it. I can't decide. I'm actually gonna put Eldritch and Shank in the C tier, and I'll tell you why. It is easy to find, but it's not really the best magic find location. Especially in Diablo 2 Resurrected, you go kill one champion pack, you go kill a second champion pack, then you have 30 seconds of load screens on online or when you're doing stuff. I'm gonna put Eldritch and Shank down there at the C tier, but I do want to do something though. I'm making an executive decision here. I'm actually gonna move like this because I think Eldritch and Shank is better than Arax. I would never do Arachnids, but I'm gonna do this. Mausoleum is probably the worst. You kind of just do it for the lulls. Eldritch and Shank is better than those two. So they give you all the tiers for a reason. So I think I'm gonna do that. Okay, for the next one, we did Eldritch and Shank. We're gonna do, how about those red portals? Does anyone do those red portals out there? They have dolls in there? Yeah, right. That's a problem. That's a problem. Red portals are F tier. Wow, a lot of hate for... We got a D tier ranking up here. Now it is they're new 85 areas. They're new 85 areas. But I'm gonna agree. These things, they're no good. They're so dangerous. The champion packs in there, I mean, isn't there sometimes like 3 or 4 champion packs in there? The density sucks. Yeah, that's what Sarah just said. The density's lame. I agree with that. We like said it the same second it came through on the chat. It's a total nightmare. Yeah, I agree. Feeble, they suck. D tier. Low density. So, you know what? I feel like this one doesn't really need to get talked about too much. We're going to go ahead and put it where it belongs. See that psych out? That's called suspense, fellas and ladies. That's called suspense. F tier, F tier, F tier for the red portals. F tier for the red portals. Yeah, let's do Pindle first because it is before... It is before you get to the Worldstone Keep. Not that I'm really doing a great job of keeping these in order or anything, but we've got Pindle. Next up, Pindle incredibly easy. Super easy to do. Super easy to find. Pindle can drop. One of y'all can correct me a little bit here, but every item in the game except for 3? I know as a funny like twist of events here, Pindle's like high enough level, treasure class, blah 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 blah, but Pindle cannot drop Arachnid's Mesh, unfortunately, a very sought after item here. So Pindle can drop Griffins but can't drop Arachnid's Mesh, and then Mephisto can't drop Griffins but can drop Arachnid's Mesh. Kind of a little crazy twist up there or whatever, but so Lewis, it sounds right what he's saying here. So Tyraels, Arax, and Azarath, they're the 3 items that Pindle can't drop. But yeah, the ease to do it, like that's one of the ones where online you'll just jump in there and go kill them real quick and then go to the area you were really gonna go to. So, and this is it is getting a little bit of the D2R treatment here because the load screens. The load screens on Diablo 2 Resurrected are a disaster, so it really hurts farming Pindle quite a bit. But it's still so good. You can still do it quite quickly. It's pretty darn easy. Even on players 8 or something, you can stand back and cast and, you know, or whatever. I think Pindle belongs up here in the A tier. That's what I think. You can, because it's so easy to just touch real quick. It's so easy just to touch real quick. I feel like these words, maybe I left them a little on the big side. Oopsie. But we'll be all right. What was it? Drifter Cavern? Drifter Cavern, right? Icy Cellar. Yeah, we'll just go with the icy tunnel. I'll put A5. The Act 5 ice tunnels. Sure, why not? This is my tier list. I do what I want. Lump them. So, does anybody? I'll just ask you guys in chat. Do any of you guys do these particular areas? Is there anybody that likes to do these? Because I've seen people do them like, I don't know if. Because when you're making videos online or something, sometimes you just want to do something different, just to show people something different. You do it for the lulz, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like they're not the greatest. Like someone mentioned earlier, you can get souls down in there. There are 85 areas now, both. So the 2 different Icy Cellar and Drifter Cavern. But yeah, I feel like they're tough, and they're probably okay. They're generally easy to find because you go from. I know from 1 you can go from the waypoint, and I forget the exact direction. I'd have to look it up again if I farmed them. But you can just go from the waypoint, turn, I think, right, and then you'll end up down at the area. I think you might be able to do that for both of them, actually. I'd have to double check, but they're not particularly hard to find. I personally don't do these. Maybe one day I will, but I feel like they're not that great. I feel like these are right there with the Arachnid's lair. Because I feel like, I don't know, these might be worse than Arachnid's lair, to be honest. They're kind of they're kind of harder with them succubi and the. Yeah, I don't know. I might consider these worse. I don't know. I almost want to slide them down next to the Mausoleum. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna slide it down to F tier. I'm gonna be honest. I reserved a right in the future to change my mind at any time, but as for right now, I'm putting those icy tunnels at F tier. I mean, there were so many other places I would always pick over them, so people, that's the main thing. Everyone's, don't do that. Everyone's fighting against my abbreviations over here. That's the main thing that everyone's, Alright, so now it's time to jump to Worldstone Keep, right? Is it okay? I want to ask everyone's permission. I want to ask everybody's permission. Can I put WSK for Worldstone Keep? Please, can I do it? Alright, so that one's allowed. None of the other ones I put are allowed. This one's allowed. Alright, so Worldstone Keep. Easy to find? I'd say Worldstone Keep is very easy to find, right? You go to the Worldstone Keep waypoint, you're done, son. Now, how easy is it? Hard as bleep, bleep, bleep. Bleep, blitty, bleep, bleep, bleep. But it's relatively large. I mean, you can go all the way up to the other levels, all the way up and down, 85 areas the whole way. So, if you can handle it, it's one of the best places to farm in the entire game. Champion souls equal death, says George. Right, it does depend much on your build. So, even though it's so good, it's so good. I feel like it can't be S tier. I feel like even A tier is too high for it because it's so hard. There's a reason when people go to Baal, they usually just skip the Worldstone Keep because it is so hard. Make this a little smaller. where am I going to put Worldstone Keep? Where's Phil going to put Worldstone Keep? It is hard, but it is very good. It is very good. And I'm putting a lot of different things into this on what I consider it, how good I consider it. But, so I got to put Worldstone Keep up here with B because it's so hard. So even if you have an endgame build sometimes, it's still hard sometimes. But it is good. But I'm going to put one on this list for my own fun here. Just because I found my first win force ever off of this guy. People are going to be like, really? You're putting Thresh Shocket on here, but not these other ones? Thresh Shocket. Now, Thresh Shocket is very easy to find. Thresh Shocket's very easy to find. You don't know what Thresh Shocket is? What? But I am under no illusions here that Thresh Shocket is very good. Thresh Shocket is like a slightly worse version of Pindle, with no minions around him, really. It's just one dude. He can drop a couple less items than Pindle can. He's a little bit harder to find than Pindle is. Pindle you can do with any character. Thresh Shocket, if you're online, he could be kind of far away. He could be real close. On single player, you can get a sick map. You hop to the Arius Plateau website. Arius Plateau waypoint. And sometimes he can be literally right there. Waypoint, boom. You could actually, on single player, you can run Thresh Shocket almost, sometimes more than twice as fast as Pindle. You can literally run Thresh Shocket twice as fast as Pindle on single player with a good map. Depends what you're doing. He's not the greatest. He's not the greatest. I'm putting him on here strictly for my own enjoyment because I like running Thresh Shocket to be a little bit different, but you can still find a lot of Holy Grail items on single player. I'm definitely going to move him down, slide him behind me a little bit here first. I kind of want to put him... Okay, so I'm going to put him, even though I like Thresh Shocket and I hate Arachnid's lair, I'm going to put him right next to Arachnid's lair over here. He's super easy. You can find almost every item in the game except for like 5 or 6. I'm actually going to put him down in D. Because I know he's not great, but he's so easy. For Holy Grailing, if you're grailing on single player and you want to do something a little bit different, a little bit easy, it's good for me too when I'm streaming because I only have to half pay attention. You know, you're constantly game. I can do 1,000 Thresh Shocket runs on old Diablo 2. When the load screens were super fast, you could do like 3 or 4 Thresh Shocket runs in a minute. Boom, 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 boom. Now we're going to talk about, why don't we go with it? Some people were calling out this one right here. So we're going to throw it in. How about the cows? Magic finding good uniques is not the thing you do in cows. It does take some time to go get the leg to make it. It's so good for runes though, even though this is kind of an area where you can get a lot of different charms. You get skillers, you get all kinds of stuff. So it is really good. I mean, not that it's really a magic finding thing, but you don't get like any experience from cows anymore. That's just kind of a side note. They can be hard to kill. Like you cannot farm cows with like a Hydra Sorceress. Nova's okay, Fireball's okay, but charms, rune, bases, gems. Rainy just kind of nailed the good stuff right there. That's what I was trying to spit out. Density given the runes. That's why you find all that good stuff is because the density is so good in there and the relative height of it. They're not immune to anything. So that is kind of important too. They have a lot of life, which makes certain builds not good at it, but you know, it's not the best for technically magic finding. But I feel like I can't rate it that low because it's still kind of good. There's a reason people do cows all the time. So when we talk about magic find, I think we're gonna slide cows in here at the B tier. Throne room, there you go. Let's go Baal. I'm just gonna put Baal. That's gonna be all the throne room, all the waves and everything. I forgot about that. I should have put Baal on here because people do run Baal over and over again. Baal obviously can drop every single item in the whole game. Every single item in the whole game. But the problem with Baal is that he's impossible to get to. You have to wait for 7 minutes, but everyone's kind of doing them anyways. But if we're talking about strictly like, hey, I'm going to try to find good stuff, I'm going to go farm Baal. Maybe you know what? It's my list. I'll take the experience gain into consideration. But not crazy high. Because strictly for magic finding, Baal's waves, I don't know about your experiences, and I don't know the actual drop odds and stuff like that for his particular waves. I don't hardly ever find anything good from Baal's waves, because I would take into consideration Baal's waves, but I'm thinking back like to any of the runes I found. Any of the runes I found were actually off of like when I was clearing the initial room, you know, of monsters. So essentially Worldstone keep killing was essentially the times I found that stuff. For magic finding, I am taking the fact that you get experience gain there a ton into consideration slightly, but I'm not going to weigh it too heavy. For actually magic finding, Baal doesn't really do a whole lot. He's not really that great farming Baal and his waves. So I'm going to put him down here with Eldritch and Shank, because not particularly great. You can get good stuff. There is definitely Baal, you can get good stuff. But it's just, I just don't think it's really that great. Yeah, I think I accidentally copied over Worldstone Keep. My bad. What? Where did Thresh Shocket go? Oh. Still struggling over here. My bad. Alright, we'll put Nihlathak. Fine, we'll put Nihlathak on there. Nihlathak. I think I spelled that wrong, possibly. Not sure. Alright, we got Nihlathak. I'll shrink it down. It's not going in that tier necessarily, but I shrunk it down so we could see it. What do you think of Nihlathak? Nihlathak, I've ran a lot of Nihlathak in my day to get the keys. And I'm going to be honest, I never find anything from Nihlathak. Ever. Ever. What do you guys think on Nihlathak? Because I personally, Nihlathak's going to be pretty low in my opinion. Maybe you guys can talk me off the ledge. Maybe you guys can talk me up on Nihlathak. I'm thinking of going pretty low on Nihlathak. I'm going to be honest. The maps, they are incredibly easy to read. When you jump to the Halls of Pain, there's only like 2 or 3 different maps for that particular location, I think. And then for the bottom, you look for the eyes and you can know where to go. So, or, you know, so I'm honestly, Nihlathak is going to be, I don't hate him as much as the red portals, but he's not that great. I don't really ever get, I mean, I'll put him down here at D tier, I guess. I almost want to slide him down in the F tier, but I'm going to go D tier, I guess. Other people like swear by Nihlathak, so there could be other areas, whatever. You guys can throw it in the comments what other areas or whatever you want or you would think on the list and where you think you would put them. What do you think I got right and wrong or whatever?